Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise. And today, we've got something pretty intense, really current. It's based on sources from a listener detailing a major escalation in the Iran-Israel conflict. Okay, so let's really unpack this for you. We're going to try and place ourselves, virtually anyway, right there, Golan Heights, June 18, 2025, Day 6 of the Iran-Israel war, according to this material titled Siege of the Heights.
Yeah, and our job today really is to distill what happened, the key events, the tactical stuff, but also the bigger picture, the implications of this one day. We want to help you grasp the key moments, the wider context, without getting totally buried in data. We'll look at the ground assault, Israel's response, the human cost, which is significant, and how this rippled outwards globally.
And it gets really interesting fast. The sources, they're not describing a small skirmish here. No, they paint a picture of a full-scale ground war actually starting, a huge shift. So the sources really hammer this early morning escalation point. 7:22 a.m., June 18th, the sound of war machines over the Golan. But the chilling part, by 6:05 a.m., so even earlier, Iranian forces were already across the demilitarized buffer. That's the start of a whole new front, isn't it? It is. The sources call it Iran's bold gamble, ground push from Syria. And like you said, not a minor thing. We're talking elite Iranian Quds Force units. That's the Revolutionary Guard's external arm backed up by Hezbollah fighters, the Lebanese group, and Syrian militias too. Their goals seem pretty clear from the documents: breach Israeli lines, northern Golan, and crucially, drag the fight properly onto Israeli soil. Move past those usual border clashes.
And tactics describe sound, sophisticated and brutal, advancing under drone jamming cover, and heavy artillery fire.
It's coordinated. The sources mention anti-tank guided missiles hitting Israeli Merkava the Fifths. Those are the main tanks, right?
That's right, the Merkava the Fifths, and then followed by Iranian Zulfikar tanks pushing forward.
So just imagine the scene. Explosions, the ground shaking. What did that specific mix, the jamming, the ATGMs, the tanks, what did that mean for Israel's defenses right at the start?
Well, that's a really key point. The sources suggest it made it incredibly difficult for Israeli forces to get instant situational awareness, to figure out what was happening and respond effectively. It wasn't just numbers. It was also that technological edge in specific areas designed to just overwhelm those initial defenses.
So Israel's response, Operation Iron Wall, had to be fast then.
Immediate and precise. Within minutes, the sources say, Israeli Apache helicopters, their main attack choppers, were in low-firing Hellfire missiles, and artillery fire was coming down from near Mount Hermon at the same time, a layered response.
Then the sources point to a really significant hit by Israel. 9:03 a.m., Israeli F-15As, the strike jets, using bunker busters on Iranian command tents near Quneitra, and one strike, crucially, took out a convoy. Senior Hezbollah commander Ali Hashem believed to be coordinating the whole Golan attack.
Yeah, eliminating Hashem was presented as a major tactical success in the documents, a big blow to the command structure on the ground.
So you'd think after a hit like that, maybe the Israeli counteroffensive would roll them back quickly.
You might think so, but the sources are very clear. This was not an easy win for Israel, not at all. They actually describe it as a brutal grind of trench warfare. That kind of static, close-quarters fighting is pretty rare in modern conflicts, especially involving forces like Israel.
Trench warfare, wow. That suggests a desperate fight.
Exactly. It raises that question, what does this tell us about ground combat now? When you have mobile, high-tech forces hitting dug-in, determined resistance. The sources seem to suggest that things like MANPADS, the shoulder-fired anti-aircraft missiles, and portable electronic warfare kits, the EW units for jamming, they sort of level the playing field a bit. Even top-tier forces have to deal with threats coming from everywhere. It forces a rethink of tactics.
So these weren't just easily overrun positions then?
No, the Iranian-led forces had dug in. They apparently shot down 2 Israeli drones and damaged a helicopter, according to the material. It was tough going.
And while this is happening at the front, the impact on civilians, immediate, devastating. Sirens across northern Israel just constantly wailing, the sources say. Towns like Kiryat Shmona, Medula families just fleeing south. Very little warning.
And the infrastructure hit was severe, too. Iranian rockets weren't just stray, they hit civilian targets. One slammed into a power station, caused a major blackout over a large area.
So it's not just military targets anymore. It's about disruption, panic.
Absolutely. That shift from the military fight to the civilian emergency, it happens so fast. It really brings home how these conflicts just engulf everything. One minute it's soldiers, the next it's ordinary people having their lives turned upside down in hours.
And the scale of that emergency sounds huge. Israel activating Code Orange. What does that mean exactly?
That's their highest civilian alert level, according to the documents. Mass evacuations, emergency services fully mobilized. It meant moving 30,000 civilians into underground shelters. Schools completely shut down. Life just stops.
Wow, 30,000.
And the fear went beyond just bombs and rockets. Hospitals in Haifa started prepping for chemical attacks. Just the fear Iran might escalate that far. It shows the psychological pressure, right? You have to prepare for the absolute worst, even if it doesn't happen. That has a huge impact itself.
And the conflict didn't stay contained, did it?
Yeah.
The sources mentioned proxy armies, foreign volunteers, even cyber mercenaries. It really sucked others in, became regional, maybe even global.
Oh, definitely. The ripples went out immediately. You had U.S. warships moving closer in the Med. A clear signal. Russia deploying more S-400s in Syria, their advanced anti-air systems. Turkey condemning both sides, but quietly reinforcing its own border. Everyone reacting.
So lots of posturing and strategic moves by bigger players.
Exactly. Demonstrating their interests, their concerns.
And amidst all this, the UN, what did they do? The sources mention a joint statement demanding immediate de-escalation. Standard procedure, maybe?
Pretty much. But despite that call, neither side seemed ready to blink, according to the material. It just highlights how tough global conflict resolution is when major powers have skin in the game, you know? Diplomatic appeals often just don't cut it when the strategic calculations on the ground are pushing things forward.
Okay, let's talk about the human cost, the direct losses from this single day, day 6, as reported in these sources. For the Iran-Syria-Hezbollah side, 142 dead. That includes 3 senior commanders, 9 tanks destroyed, 2 jets shot down by Israeli planes.
A heavy toll. And Israel also paid a steep price. 47 soldiers killed, 118 injured. They lost 2 drones, 1 helicopter damaged. Plus, as we said, heavy damage to infrastructure in the north.
So, looking at those numbers, beyond the obvious tragedy, what do they tell us about the fighting itself?
Well, they suggest a really high-intensity battle, brutal fighting. Both sides took significant hits. It points to perhaps a very determined defense by Israel, but also a very well-prepared and equipped assault by the Iranian-led forces. It wasn't a quick rout for either side, more like a really costly, grinding fight.
And by sunset, on that day, day 6, the Golan Heights are smoldering. The sources are blunt. The ground war had officially begun.
That's the bottom line from the material, isn't it? A critical turning point. And the scary thought is, if this thing spreads further, it's not just Israel and Iran anymore. The whole region could go up. It's quite striking how fast a sort of localized flare-up can become this massive regional crisis. Shows how interconnected everything is. Geopolitical stability is fragile.
Absolutely. So you think about all this. What does it mean for you listening? We see these immediate, profound impacts, soldiers, civilians, the global stage. It's not abstract. It makes you wonder, beyond UN statements, what actions or maybe statements from other international players or regional ones could actually work to de-escalate something, intensifying this quickly. Is it about security guarantees, economic packages, something else entirely? Definitely something complex to think about. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.